All right, so today we're going to be working on Module 5, Chapter 5 in the book. We're starting on page EX241, and we're going to be working with multiple worksheets and workbooks. So this is one of those powerful things that we can do in Excel, where we can actually consolidate multiple worksheets. So far up to this point, we've used information from individual cells to reference somewhere else on that same sheet. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to make multiple sheets that come together and bring data to one sheet so that we can go make changes other places and they will reflect on like a graph or something like that we have somewhere else. That just reminded me, don't forget to get your homecoming tickets tomorrow. I'm just kidding. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start off here in Chapter 5. We're going to go through and we're going to learn how to do quite a few of these little wonderful things. We're going to consolidate 3 worksheets into one. So first thing we're going to do is start off with a new worksheet. So everybody fire up Excel, get into a new worksheet. Do we like the projector over here? Is that all right? There's no line down the middle of it now? I was hoping that would help. All right, so in this one, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom into about 120% so we can see it. We're going to go to page layout, and we're going to change the theme to mesh. Right here. When we change the theme, what is it going to do? Changes the color scheme, changes the font, changes the way all the title things look. It's going to be nice. Now what we want to do is we want to create some different spacing. So on A, they want us to drag this out to 18. I'm just going to right mouse click it. I don't like messing with dragging. If I can just right mouse click, type in column width, and type in 18 and be done with it. Then they want us to drag B to G. We're going to highlight all those up on top. Right mouse click and change these to 12 instead of 8.38. And then on row 4, they want us to change row 4's height to 51. So I right mouse clicked on row 4, went down to height, made it 51. Did you say wait? Right, yeah. Right mouse click, so you got to be all the way over number 4. Right mouse click, go down to row height, and then type in 51. And then you want to do 51. Or some might say 51, like 50 cent. Okay. Now on page 246, we are going to type in A1, the 12-tone concert venues. And then hit enter. 2 is consolidated expenses worksheet. I'm going to skip to A4. I'm going to say expense category. And then we're just going to go down the row here. Expense category, then we're going to do payroll, benefits, security, rent, utilities, maintenance, advertising, and administrative. Administrative. Boom. So it should look like this so far. No coughing in my classroom, no, Ellie. My fingers are so fast, it's so hard to wait for you. I love my jokes. All right, so in B4, I'm going to type 2017. D4, I'm going to type 2018. And F4, I'm going to do 2019. I did that because we're going to have to do something complicated here when we type in. And I wanted to show you that without getting mixed up with the numbers. Those are simple. All right, so at the bottom of page 246, we see that what we're supposed to put in here is the 2018 projected percentage of change. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2018, Alt, Enter. Alt, it's just to the left of the space bar. And you hit the Enter, you hold down the Alt and then you hit Enter. It says projected, Alt, Enter, percentage change. So I had to hit Alt, Enter twice. Now you're like, Mr. Greer, you're going to the wrong ones. No, I'm not. As soon as I hit Tab or Enter, this is all going to shift up, and it's going to look just fine, but that's making it kind of auto-wrap text on, we're forcing it to do that. Noelle, you had a question? Alt, Enter?
No, it keeps on getting Enter, keeps on bringing me to the next side, you see?
I said Alt, Enter. This is your Alt key. So you type 2018.
Alt?
No. Watch what I do. That's all right. No, watch. I'm going to do this one. 2019. Okay, my left index finger goes on Alt. It's holding. My right index finger, while I'm holding on Alt, hits Enter. Then I type projected. I can let go after that. Then Alt, Enter, percentage, change. Enter. And then it should put it all in one cell for you. Everybody get the Alt, Enter? Elizabeth, you okay?
I guess that's to make it like enter within the cell, right?
Yes. Alt, Enter makes an enter within the cell without going to the next one. Thank you for that. Alt, Enter. Yes.
I am doing Alt, Enter. It's not.
No, you got to be in the cell.
I am in the cell. Look.
Now Alt, Enter. There you go. Type it in. Say, thank you, Mr. Greer. You're amazing. I just want to hear 5 words for you, Noelle. There's something like, I've always looked up to you, and I think that you're an amazing person, and probably one of the best Excel people I've ever met in my life. And, what a wonderful, that's more than 5 words. Just, I'm sorry, you were right.
There was a movie.
Armageddon. There isn't a job on the planet I want to do with you, AJ. Alt, Enter, percentage, average, changed. Here we go. Changed. So this is what it should look like when you get done. That's why we have to have the fast forward key on YouTube. Got it. Noelle got it. We're good to go. They don't know your last name. It's oh.
I have 3. Try me. Are you addicted to Diet Coke?
My wife isn't supposed to know. Come on, be quiet. Hey, you want to see a problem with my computer, Noelle?
What?
It just always happens. I can't get my name to go up there, no matter what. See if I go, Mr. Greer. It just knows that I'm a stub machine. Okay, thought you'd get a kick out of that one. All right, we ready? We're going to go ahead and do the next little thing. Previously on Lost, the episode. No, we're going to go ahead and put a number 1 right here in 2017. And then I'm going to highlight all the way down to administrative, so all the way down to B12. Now, before we would do a series, we would just drag it, but I want to show you another way to do this. So we're not going to just drag it. We're going to go to the Home tab. And over here on the right, just below Autosum, is this thing called Fill. So we can drop down and say, hey, I want you to fill a series. And I can go in here and say, I want you to step 1 at a time. So I could change this to 5, and it would go 1, 6, 11, 16. But if I leave it at 1, I click OK. Then it goes 1 through 8. Oh, this is going to get good. So that's the basic version of it. We're just in the beginning of outer fill. We're going to get into like outer fill here in a second. Now what we're going to do is we're going to jump over here to 2018, and we are going to create a new linear series here with the, projected change right here is going to be 2%, 0.021. Let me just make sure. No, I did that wrong. It's just 2%. So 2%. Okay. Now I'm going to highlight all the way down again. I'm going to go up to fill. And under my series, I'm going to put in here, instead of 1, I'm going to put 0.021. So this means I want you to start at 2%, and I want you to go, the next one should be 0.021 higher, which means it'll be what? Wrong. 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 4.1%. Because this isn't a percentage. Percentage would be 2 decimal places over. So I'm saying I want you to increase this by 2.1% every time I take a step. So I'm going to say OK. You're going to be like, but Mr. Greer, that doesn't look right. Well, that's because we haven't expanded it out 2 decimal places. So I expanded out 2 decimal places, and all of a sudden I see, oh, it's 2, 4.1, 6.2, 8.3, 10.4. Starts going out. It's pretty nice. Our next one that we want to do, was there a question?
Oh, damn it.
Mother of pearl.
Wait, hold on, I messed up. Let's go back.
All of YouTube's waiting now because you messed up.
That's fine, they can wait. Okay, so my,
So you start with 2.00% and then drag all the way down, go up to fill, go down to series, change the step to 0.021, and then click O to the kazay, and it will fill in.
Nope.
I promise you it's operator error.
I promise you it's getting me the wrong data.
That's because you did 2.1%.
Because that's what
No,
you
go
have.
back. No. Go up here. Fill. Series. You need to do delete 0.021. Click OK. And there it is. Boom. Because all I do is win, no matter what. Okay. All right.
Serious here, okay?
I got money on my mind. Can never give it up. All right. Let's do 3.00%. Was there a question, Amy? You were just like, holler back. Okay. Just want to make sure. We're going to highlight 3 all the way down. We're going to go back up to fill. We're going to do a series. And we're going to step by 1. To the left. To the left. To the right. Up. I did it again. I'm so sorry. Am I going by 3%? I want to do it by 0.01. My bad. So Control Z. I'm going to go fill, series, and I want to do 0.01 over here.
That's 11.
No, it's not. It's 0.01. That's 1% each. Fills it out. Now slide, baby. Slide, baby. Slide.
Hell, I can't.
It's cold? Really? Hey, first Crystal tells me it's hot. Now it's cold. Make up your mind, everybody. She did. She's like, turn on the air conditioner. It feels like a swamp beast in here. Everybody taking their test was like breathing out. Like, everybody's so intense. You know it's true because you walk out and you're like, oh, this is dry air. Then you come in here, it's like, it's so moist. It's like living in that thing in Empire Strikes Back. Okay. All right.
Well, maybe take that test.
I did. It doesn't mean you have to, exhale so heavily. All right. Let's go up to G3. We're going to go ahead and we can do a now function, but we're going to do a different function today called today. So we do it equals today, similar to now, but it's going to give us a date. What is today? We click enter on that equals today. And it gives us 10/25, 2016. Did you do equals today? Parentheses in parentheses? Yeah, you got to always put the parentheses in for a function. Boom, goes the dynamite. All right, we want to change the format of this, so we're going to drop this down, our format. We're going to go to more numeric formats, And we're going to change it to this 14 March 12, right down here at the bottom. So we want the day, the abbreviation. This is so embarrassing. I'm sorry, YouTube, for what Noelle's doing. Okay. Just keep going. Just keep going. All right, so it'll change it to the 25th of October, 2016. Great.
What's the date now again?
We just changed the format of the date.
How do you do that? I got this.
Yes, we heard your phone ring. Drop it down, do more numeric formats, and then go down to this one under date.
Oh, okay. I need to do that. You're teaching me something.
You know, it's those little moments that bring joy to my life, Noelle. What am I doing here? No. All right. We're going to go ahead and put a formula in, and we're going to learn how to use the round function. Now, let me explain this really quick to you. In Excel, it's a computer. It doesn't understand, like, if I just say I want to see 2 decimal places, it's like, that's fine. But guess what? It doesn't think of it just in 2 decimal places. It thinks of it, if there's 15 places after, it will always keep that exact number in there. So even if we make it look like it's not 15 digits long, it still is 15 digits long. But we have a function called round that can actually say, hey, when you do the calculation, I want you to round to 2 decimal places and not have anything else after it. So that's what we're going to do, and we can round to different decimal places if we want. So if I was to ask you, Amy, what do you think the round function is? Equals what? Yes, brilliant. Okay, equals round. Parentheses. Now we're going to put in a calculation or a number, because we could just say, hey, what I want you to do is look at this number on the left. I could just click this and then say comma 1 decimal place, and it will round it to 1 decimal place. But we don't need to do that. Right here we're actually going to do a calculation, and the calculation is not something we need to memorize. It's something they give us in the book. Okay, so I just want us to understand. What we're going to do is we're going to take what's over here on the 2017, we're going to add this twice together and multiply it by the percentage. That's what we're going to do. They're just telling us to do that in the book. Don't ask me why they're asking us to do it. But we're going to take this, we're going to say, so this equals round B5 plus B5 times C5. And we are going to comma 2. So let me explain this before we finish this off. Order of operations tells us what's going to happen first in this.
Yeah, it's gonna add.
It's going to add, and then it's going to multiply by 6.
Wrong.
My,
Multiplication first. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Yes, Noelle.
Why does it have a comma 2?
That's what I was about to explain. Comma, how many decimal places do I want it to round to? 2. So it's going to round it to 2 decimal places. Good question. I'm glad I asked it. Hit enter, and here it is, 1.02. Boom, goes the dynamite. Let's go ahead and drag that one down now, because it will continue that all the way through everything on the left. Home.
I'm kind of confused.
What are you confused about?
Like, why would you use that?
We are using it because they're telling us to use it. Now, in theory, I would say we're going to take this number and multiply it by this and then add 1. I don't know exactly, because I didn't spend time ahead of time, like I said ahead of time, figuring out why they gave us those calculations. So I would say instead of thinking about why would we use their specific calculation, what we're learning here is the round function. Okay. That we can put together a very complicated something that we want to do and round it off to just 2 decimal places. That's what we want to be focusing on here, because that's what we're going to use in our certification exam. I'm sorry that's not a better answer. I can look during the break and see if I can figure out their formula. Okay.
I just don't understand what the number is.
Well, but we're making up a spreadsheet. These are not numbers that we've got some rhyme or reason to. This is a fictitious business sheet that they have some reason they're doing it. Okay, 2019. Do the same type of thing. So we're going to come over here and we're going to say this equals round, parentheses D5 plus D5 times E5, comma 2. That's what it should look like when we get done in there.
Yeah.
Should be 1.05 when you're done. We can drag that down. Finally, our average percentage of change is going to equal something new. We're going to say equals round, parentheses. And what we're going to do here is we're going to add C5 plus E5. So we're going to do a second parentheses, C5. Cortana, get out of here. C5 plus E5. And divide that by 2. And this time we want it to go out 4 decimal places. We want it to round to 4 decimal places. So I'm going to put a 4.
It says 34.
It says what?
We want to take a tablet.
You didn't put in 2 parentheses at the end. Because we started with the parentheses here. I'm sorry. Nope, I'm wrong. I got to put, that's on another one coming up, I think. Ta-da, it worked. Second parentheses was because, does anybody want to take a stab at this? Because I just talked about order of operations. Why would I want to do that? I wanted to add before it divides, exactly. So in Excel, parentheses are our best friend because we say do this first because please, excuse my dear Aunt Sally, parentheses is always first. So on the first run through an equation, it will always, and it reads left to right in an equation. So it'll do everything in parentheses. The first pass, let's just say, I mean, it's doing it very quickly, but first pass will do parentheses, next pass will do exponents, next pass will do multiplication. That's a simplification of what it's doing. But all right, so we've got this. It's out to 4 decimals if it needs to be. We drug those both down. Now at the bottom, we're going to do a little sum here in B13. We want to add up all these numbers above, so we're going to hit Autosum. The problem is, in our haste to add up this, what did it do? It grabbed the date, 2017. We don't want that. So we got to make sure that even though we hit Autosum, we got to pull that out of it. There it goes. And I want to do that for 2018 and 2019 also. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit Control C to copy and paste. And paste. Did you see in the homework we could actually click on this also and hit the Control key? And when we get this little plus on the side, we can click and drag it and it will just copy it automatically. Great. So now we are, now we're to the formatting phase where we're going to make it look pretty. By the way, on your homework, I thought it was wonderful the different ideas people had about making it look pretty. Yes?
What's the little, next to 36, the little family quadrant?
That means it's not the same as something else. So because I copied it over there, let me see if I can fix that. Copy, paste, paste. Nope, it just means that this is not the same formula as something else next to it. So it's a warning. So we can ignore that warning. But in Excel, these little triangles show us like, hey, this might be wrong because it's not like something else by it. So it's not part of that series. I don't know why it's not doing the other two. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this thing before we go any farther. Control S. Oh, can I ask you for some help on homework? On everything you do. When you save it, I need your first name and last name on the file because it was impossible with 20 of you. I was like, whose did I just download? And so I'm just going through and I'm doing a bunch of it. It would be really nice if I knew this was Amy Ruiz's right there. You know, like that's wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in a location that I have set up for APP104. This is the Chapter 5 exercise. And you guys are going to start putting in here all the time your name. That would be wonderful if you get that started right now as a habit. So just whenever you open up, apply your knowledge, just save as, put your name on the front of it. That way I can know whose it was. So let's go ahead and format some cells. All right. So A1 and 2, I'm going to highlight those. On the Cell Styles button, select the title style. So we're going to go up here to Cell Styles. We're going to make it title style. Poof, makes it nice and big. Now we want to merge and center this all the way across. So I'm going to highlight just A1 to G1. Go back to merge and center. Highlight A2 to G2. Merge and center.
We don't have to follow that. We can make it creative.
Yeah, we're following this. If it tells you be creative, be creative. It's not telling us. We're doing specific things right now because we're learning it. Now we're going to change the font color. And this time they want us to change the font color to Orange Accent 6 Lighter 60, which is column 10, row 3 in the font color gallery. So we're going to come up here. We're going to grab the font color. Orange Accent 2. Why is it not giving me my... Accent 6 right here. That's what they wanted. And then they want us to do Lighter 60, I think is what it said. So let's come down and see which one that is. Lighter 80, Lighter 60. So that's the color of orange I want. Ta-da! You're like, but Mr. Greer, it's really hard to read now. Exactly. We're going to change the background now to black. We're going to use this little paint can. We're going to dump it in there, and it says we want to make it fill color of black text 1. We're on page 255. Up at the top. That was black was number 6, and the font was number 7. Now I'm going to highlight everything in row 4 here. So actually B4 through G4. Why is it asking me to just do that? I'm going to actually highlight everything first. And then we're going to, so A4 through B4. And I'm going to use heading 3. Is that the one it wants us to use? Cell style, heading 3, perfect. Then I'm going to grab B4 through G4 and I'm going to center that one. B4 through G4, and I'm going to center that. So we're starting to look good here. On A13 through G13, we're going to apply the total format, or total style, right here. And then we're going to jump off of that. Now we want to format in accounting and in reports. It's typically good to give whatever this is up on top. If it's dollars, put the dollar sign in or something like that. So it tells us this is the format for everything else. If we're going to use dollar signs, we don't need to put dollar signs all the way down this. It's just going to look cluttered. So we just need to start the top row off saying this is what this is. So I'm going to go with this 1. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hold Control down, click on 102, hold Control down, and click 105. As I click on that, I'm going to create this as currency. So I'm going to go down and make it currency. And it gives me a floating dollar sign. Crystal, what's a floating dollar sign again? Do you remember? Anthony, you remember what a floating dollar sign is versus a fixed dollar sign? This will be on the certification. What is it, Mark? Yeah, floating goes by the number, fixed is on the left. Okay? So on your certification, when they say use a floating dollar sign, they mean currency. Okay? If they say fixed, they mean accounting format. Okay. I'm going to save that. What do we do now?
We did the control.
Well, we're going to format down here now 36, 40, 25, and 43, 36. And we're going to do currency again. Okay. Next, we might want to do a custom format. And that's a little tough, and I don't want to go crazy on us here. I don't believe custom formatting is going to be on the Excel certification, but I'm just going to explain it to you. Excel is, like I said, a program, and it's just taking information. So if we tell it 25-October-16, it guesses that we're talking about a date in a year and a month. So a day, a month, and a year. Puts in this format. Now we can change that format by saying, no, I don't want to see that. I want to see the day, space, a full month written out, comma, a year. And it takes that same information and transposes it to what we need it to. So we can change the way things look because of codes, formatting codes. What we're going to do here is we're going to grab all of the percentages. So we're going to click and drag, let go, hold Control, click and drag, let go, hit Control, click and drag. So these are all percentages. And we're going to go up into custom formatting here, more numbers. We're going to create a custom format. Yeah, so there's a bunch of different ones here. We can write different things in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a percentage. So instead of type general, we're going to go ahead and type 0.00%. Okay. This means I want it to be in percentage, not in decimal form. And then we're going to go ahead and put in a semicolon, because this is going to say if it's a negative, I want you to do something differently. And what we're going to do is we're going to put in a bracket. And we're going to type in magenta. So this is the color we want negatives to go into. And we're going to put in a parentheses saying that when it is negative, I don't want you to show a negative. I want you to show a parentheses. So this is kind of long and arduous. But it shows us up there that what we're going to get on this one example is it's going to come out as 2.50%. So 0.00%, semicolon, bracket, which is the square bracket, not a parentheses. You know the difference between bracket and parentheses? Just want to make sure everybody's got that. So bracket is just below the parentheses to the right. And then we want it to be magenta if it's a negative with brackets. Okay, this is all found on page 258. I'm going to go ahead and click Ode to the Kazay. Now notice that everything looks pretty much the same, but this one right here, this group on G, has now formatted to 2 decimal places. So we got rid of our 4 decimal place. I'm just going to show you this. Please, nobody do this. But I'm just going to show you if I did like a -5, notice that it's magenta now on those with brackets. But we're not going to do that. Now we're going to format with comma style. I like comma style. So we're going to highlight everything from B6 down to B12. Hold our control key down, D6 through D12, with our control still down, and then F6 through F12. We're going to go up and do comma style, my favorite style, comma style. Just a little bit. Now, this will be on, I'm trying to remember if this is, I don't think this is on the first exam. It's definitely on the expert if you take the expert. But what we're going to do next, right before we go on break, you know what? We're going to pause right now and we'll come back and we'll do this. So I'm going to save your project. So we're going to continue with creating a custom style. Now, why, Mr. Greer, why would we want to create a custom style? Oh, because they're going to quiz us on it. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to follow the steps to create a new style called the 4-digit year by modifying the existing normal style. Why? Well, because this is for ease of use, reuse, and consistency of application. So if we use this consistently everywhere, it's going to always have things looking the same. Now, as a person who reads these things or reads a spreadsheet, it drives me crazy. Like if this was formatted in the middle and then this one's over on the right, to me that's just like, oh, I can't even tell you what that does to my brain. It just makes me mad that the person didn't think that hard through. On like, why didn't they take enough pride into what they're doing? So a style, right now I'm writing a textbook, and a style allows it, so whenever I come to a heading, I just make it a heading. And then I don't have to, I type the heading and then I hit enter and I'm back into the body of text. Or if I go to learning objective, I can highlight my bullets and say learning objectives, and it just formats them all so they all look exactly the same through the whole document. And then I can go back in and I can say, you know what? I don't want the learning objectives to be black. I want them to be blue. And if I just change it once, every learning objective through the whole book turns blue. So I don't have to go highlight everything and redo it. So there's a lot of power in what we can do there. So we are going to start off. I'm just going to jump into a cell here so I'm not highlighting everything else. We're going to go up into cell styles, and we're going to do a new cell style. This will be on the certification exam, not for the normal one, but for the expert. The style name that we want to call it is, we're going to call this a 4-digit year. We're going to go ahead and click Format. Oh, we want to make sure these are all checked. Good. Okay, so that's all on there. Now, under the Format, we're going to go down to Date. And on the date, I'm on page 261 right now. I'm going to grab this one, 14 March 12. And then I'm going to go to Alignment. And I want it to be, instead of horizontal, I want it to be centered. So I can just change my alignment to centered. So I went first to Alignment and then to horizontal to centered. And then I'm going to click, great, then I'm going to go to the Font tab, because we're going to change the way it looks. And we're going to change the Font tab to click the color, and I want to change the color to, so we're going to click on the color button. We get the color gallery that comes up. And I'm just trying to make sure that
Mr. Greer, no, it pulls these colors based off the theme of the one that we picked, right?
yes, it does. And we need to go back and format our date a little bit better because I didn't do it, but that's all right. So we're going to do orange accent 6, darker 50, which is going to be this one. So if we were to change the theme, it would go with whatever color is in the bottom right. There we go. And I need to go back to number because we're supposed to be doing a 4-digit year. And it is 14 March 2012, format selected. So, is it? Okay. There it is. So we want this one. And then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Let me just double check and make sure. Yeah, I'm going to click OK here. Now it brings me back out. And I'm going to tell it, the style doesn't include borders. So if I apply this style, it doesn't mean to remove any borders. It doesn't mean to remove any fill. And it is not protected. Okay, so we can go ahead and unprotect it. Unlock it. Then I click OK. And now I have this cell style happening right here. If I go back up into cell styles, I will see now this custom one right here, 4-digit year. I just made that. So it shows me what it looks like. It's got a darker, orange color in it. And, so I have that right here. So what I'm going to do is, instead of applying it here, I'm going to go over to this date, go over to my cell style, and say a 4-digit year. And notice that it changed the format, it changed the color, but it didn't like put any borders around it or anything like that. It just kind of made it look like everything else that I had asked it to.
So it's just like creating like a presetting.
Yeah, well, it's definitely so now on any, as long as I'm in this worksheet or a workbook, I can add some more sheets, and if I ever do a date, I can go apply that cell style to it, and they'll all look just like that. Consistency is very important in styling. Yes?
It's not letting me do it. Look. So I did equal date, and then.
It was today. Okay. Now, cell style 4-digit year. So I don't think you did
I don't think so either.
your cell style right. So we're going to right mouse click on it and say modify. See, you left the border, you left the fill, you left the protection, which we said not to do. And then this is supposed to be centered.
Why did that one? I just missed out the set. So it
And your
doesn't save it?
color. No, I'm modifying the one that you have here. And then we wanted to do the number format. You need to make it a date.
Little in the bottom.
All the way down. Whoop. And there it is. And click OK. And OK. And ta-da! Like magic. I've got the magic. Maybe if you weren't texting when I was talking. Oh, snap! He called her out on it. Okay, I just want to see it. All right, so now we're going to apply a new style, which we just did. Now we're going to start working with multiple worksheets, and this will be on the certification exam, working with multiple worksheets. So right now we have sheet 1 down here, but we're going to need to create some more. So we're going to copy, I'm sorry, what? Sure. It's always a good idea to save wherever we are. So we're going to add a worksheet to a workbook. Now when we talk about a workbook, what are we talking about, Edith? No, when I say workbook, what does workbook mean versus worksheet? Well, it means we have multiple sheets, right? So all the sheets equal a book. One workbook is multiple sheets. If we say, hey, I want 3 sheets, I've now created a book.
Is data transferable within Word? No, I know it's transferable.
Yes.
Within Word.
Yes. That's the good part. So is it live transferable is the question. We can get into some really complicated things. So I'm going to just answer George's question here really quick. The beauty of Excel is that we can grab an Access database, a Word document, an Excel document, and link data from those to populate into our current one that we're in. And so we'll go out and let's say somebody else is using a workbook somewhere else. If we have it networked properly, they can input things and our workbook that we have will go out, grab that information, pull it into ours, and update everything we've done. Okay, so it gets very, very powerful. Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to create a new sheet. So we can click down here. We're going to make a new sheet. So we have sheet 2. Now we want to copy the content of sheet 1 to sheet 2. Now we can do that, and I don't know if they're going to tell us to do it differently, but one way that we can do that is we can just go to sheet 1, click on the top left, in between the A and the 1, hit copy, come back over here and hit paste. Notice it puts it all in there. So we've just duplicated everything. Another way to do it that I like to do easier, which is right mouse click on the sheet and say move or copy. And then you can say create a copy and I want it to be at the end. And we'll do the same thing all in one fell swoop really quick. You don't have to do that right now, but I'm just showing you that we can do that. delete that.
Pasting everything, right?
Yeah, we just copied and pasted the whole thing. Okay, so click the Sheet 2 tab. So we're in Sheet 2. I'm going to zoom into about 120% so we can see it a little bit better. I like that. Oh, and then sure enough, they're going to show us the next one that I just showed you. So we can do it again by clicking on Sheet 1, right mouse click, do a move and a copy. It's doing exactly what I just said. Move it to the end and create a copy of it. And so it'll duplicate the exact same thing. So now we'll have Sheet 1, Sheet 2, and then Sheet 1 parentheses 2, meaning it's the same thing as Sheet 1. Finally, we can copy it using the Control key. So if I can hold down Control, click and drag Sheet 1 over here. Is that right? Wait, hold on. Click and drag Sheet 1, yep. It should go right there. If you click on it and then hit the Control key, click on it, then hit the Control key and drag it over. So I've just made 4 copies of it, essentially, the 4 different ways we can do it. Or 3 copies of it, the 3 different ways we can do it. So we have the same percentages on each one of these. What we're going to do to speed up data entry, Excel allows us to enter a number in the same cell through all selected worksheets. Okay, so we can change something in all the worksheets at once. We're calling this technique is referred to as drilling an entry. So why would we want to do that? Well, let's say we want to change, we've just made these 4 sheets the same, and we want to change this percentage from 2.0 to 1.5. Well, we want to do that on all of them. There's a way to do it that I prefer, which is every time we duplicate, I would go back in and I would say, if I wanted these always to be the same, this is the Mr. Greer way, so I'm going to flat my tie and just tell you this is my method. I would say in Sheet 2, I would go and say this cell equals, then I'd click on Sheet 1 and click on that cell, C5, and it will say Sheet 1, C5. And then if I change it in my Sheet 1, it will change in all, as I did that on each one of them, it'll change everywhere. But this is, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to manually do it. So we're going to do a drill entry is what it's called. We're going to do a drilling an entry. So we want to change these values. We can see on page 267 that what we'd like to do is actually change to 1.5%, 2.5%, 2%, 0, 1, 0, -1, -2. So we're going to put those numbers all the way through here. So on Sheet 1, we're going to highlight all of them. Okay. Sorry, I want to be on Sheet 1. Let me just make sure I'm here. I'm going to shift and grab all of them. Notice how they're all highlighted now. So I was on Sheet 1. I held shift and I grabbed all 4 of them. I'm going to go up to C5. And in C5, I'm going to type 1.5. And I'm going to hit the down arrow. Here, I'll show you. Here you go. Just click on Sheet 1. Sorry, I've got them all highlighted now.
You have to grab the original?
Yeah, well, no. I'm going to grab Sheet 1. I'm going to hold the Shift key down, and I'm going to click all the way over here on Sheet 1, parentheses 3. Shift, not Control. Shift, and then just click. Don't drag it. Just click on it. There it goes. There you go. Okay, so the next one, we're going to follow this whole table that's in the book on 267. So the next one's going to be what? 2.5%. I lost you at drilling an entry? Okay. Do you have all 4 worksheets? You didn't copy them all? All right.
Okay, I'll read it.
No, that's okay. We're going to do this. If you have not, everybody that's copied your worksheets, ignore what I'm about to say, but I have some people that have not done that. On Sheet 1, just go ahead and F3?
I have three worksheets I don't have the four.
So you have sheet 1-2?
No, I copied them over just the first one. Yeah, mouse, I'm trying to catch up.
Okay, so
I
here,
just copied them over.
we're going to just right mouse click and say copy, create a copy at the end, and there it is. So now you've got 4. Okay, and you're going to hold shift down, click on here. Now you've got them all highlighted, and then you're going to go in here, you're going to start putting in these numbers. So you're going to do the table on 267. So the first one, C5 should be 1.5, C6 should be 2.5, then 2, then 0, then 1, then 0, then -1, and then -2. I'm following the book, Noelle. It's given to us in the book. We're also going to have to change all these percentages in 2019. It's okay. 2019, it's in the book right here. Look, it's right here. Oh, you're not on the right page. 267. I'm putting in these numbers and these numbers, but you have to have them all highlighted. You don't have them all highlighted
Why do I have to have that?
because that's going to change it on all the pages at once.
Okay.
That's what
so-
we're learning right here. So, you know what? I probably didn't just do that right on mine. So I'm going to have this highlighted. There we go. I'm just going to make sure I did it all right. 1.5, 2.5, 2, 0.
But when I highlight, it moves it around.
When you highlight, no. What do you mean when you highlight it moves around?
You have to hold down shift.
Shift.
This thing shift.
Shift.
What shift?
And just click on the other one now. No, don't drag it. Click on it. There you go.
Mr. Greer, I have a question.
Hold on, let me just make sure I get this right because I screwed it all up and I'm sure everybody's going to be looking at me like it's crazy. -1 and -2. Your question, George.
So let's just say you have, like I know we copied and pasted the sheet so it looks the same. Now in the situation that you have, that you didn't copy or paste but you do the shift method where you highlight all the sheets and you do the changes, does that, let's just say you put -1 on A1, but it's a different kind of sheet, will it still transfer just because you highlighted it?
Yes.
Or because you
It will put it into all the A1s.
Oh, so
It doesn't matter what's on the other one. We're just doing something very similar, so it's going to... This isn't something you would do just randomly on a worksheet, right? So if we had like 7 Sprint stores and we had 7 worksheets and we had a new commission structure, and so all the C3s or the percentage that we would pay, we would go into the first one, highlight the last one, change the commission structures, and it's going to drill through all of
What
them.
I'm saying is, what links them together to make the changes is the...
This little shift down here.
Okay.
Exactly. So now, if I was to go click on sheet 2, notice that it's changed all those numbers even though I didn't type it in there. Sheet 1-2 and 1-3. So all of them changed to match those because I had highlighted them and I didn't have to type them in everywhere. That's fantastic. So let's just talk about selecting sheets for a second. If we're going to select a sheet, we can just click on it. If we want to select all sheets, we can right mouse click on it and say select all sheets. Okay, just did that. If we want to select non-adjacent sheets, we can click on sheet 1 and then control will get me to sheet 1.2 here, so I can grab that. Excuse me. If I want to deselect all sheets, I could say select all sheets, and then I could say, I thought it was going to say unselect, but it didn't. I'm just going to click on one of them, and it deselects them. And deselect one of many sheets. So I could grab all of them and then hold the control key down and say, you know what, I don't want this third one, and then it will unselect it. So that control key, once you get the concept down of shift and control, shift will grab everything, control will grab non-adjacent things. That's the same throughout everything, cells, sheets, everything. Excuse me. Wow, okay. Gollum. Let's keep going here. So we're going to modify on sheet 2. Let's call this one the Durat Theater. So we're going to rename this one. I got to select off, make sure I'm only on this one. Durat Theater. And I want to not make this consolidated work expenses, but Durat. So this is a lot like having 7 Sprint stores, right? We're going to have one consolidated worksheet and then 3 different ones for the different theaters. So I'm going to put them all together in one. On this one, I just want to make sure it's a different color. So I'm going to highlight these 2 up here. And I'm going to change the color to A1 through A2. Oh, we want to change it to Home tab. Let's see here. We want to go to the fill color arrow. Font group. And on this fill, I'm going to go down and just make this one the orange accent 6 right here. So I'm going to click that. It looks different, so we can tell just looking at it. Once again, having a different color, we've kind of identified that, okay, now this theater is identified by this color. So this makes the information easier to read. We also want to change the amounts. So the data for Durat and B5. So B5 is going to be 79,207.20. B6 is 15,247.39. This is all on page 269 up at the top. 281.75.65 and 14,400. And 3080, 4295.20 and 3599.64 and 2500. Now it's starting to look not like 1 through 8, George. I think this is starting to make sense, right? So we've actually calculated out the amount. So I can tell you right now, George, the calculation was this number plus this number times the percentage, which will give us a smaller number. Add those together, and it gives us this.
Oh, there's like the projected growth.
Yeah. So now that formula makes sense now.
So they're more like placeholders?
Yeah, the 1 through 8 were just placeholders. So this is telling us that next year, we think that we're going to try and save for 2018. We want to save 2%. So we want to change that down by, we're only thinking administrative, we're going to spend $2,450 instead of $2,500. This is good information now. So it looks like our expenses are going up almost $2,000 a year, and we can see that as it moves. All right, next we want to do the third sheet right here. We want to change this one to Truman House. I'm going to go ahead and click up here, get rid of Consolidated, call it Truman House. They want us to change this one to gray 50 accent 1. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Go down to gray 50 accent 1. Nope, that's tan. Gray 50 accent 1. So this one's going to be gray. And they gave us a bunch of numbers for this one, so we're going to come over here, and B5 is going to be 72870.62. This is on page 270. So I just typed in all those numbers on the left there into the 2017 area. I'm just guessing they're going to have me change these colors, so I'm going to go do tab color and make them the same color as they're supposed to be here. How are we doing? Has everybody typed this in? Are you with me or you're with the terrorists? You're with the terrorists. That's not what I wanted to hear. Okay, so final sheet, sheet 4. Click on that one. This is the stage Xanadu. So stage Xanadu. This is going to be color light blue in the standard color area down here. So this is light blue, the standard colors at the bottom. So I'm going to change it to light blue. So this up here, I'm going to just grab it, change it to light blue. And then on page, oh, I got to make that not consolidated, but stage Xanadu. Xanadu. And 2017. So it gives us all of this on page 271. And the good news is, if you're getting really behind right now, it's going to be recorded. So we can hit pause. So I found all those figures on page 271. And we're about to get into the magic of chapter 5. I'm being patient. I shouldn't be, but I am, because I love everybody so much. So answering George's question of does it need to be in the exact same spot, the answer is no. But if we do have similar worksheets for multiple locations in the exact same spot, so all of our payroll expenses are in the same spot, all these things are together, we can do a pretty nifty function. Now, if we wanted to add up everything in this column, what would we do? What function would we use? Sum. And it would grab everything above, right? But if we want to add up everything in a workbook in the same cell, what function could we use? What would it be? Well, I'm going to grab the sheet one. I'm going to change this to consolidated, because this is going to be all of them together. So I'm going to go into this 2017 payroll in B5, and I want to write a formula to add all the other sheets B5s up here. And we can do that by saying equals. And I can click on Durant Theater, click on that. So notice that up above, it still has my function in B5 in the original cell I was in. Now it says, I want you in worksheet Durant Theater, B5. And I'm going to click on Stage Xanadu and hold down my Shift key. Oh, it didn't do what I wanted it to do. There it is. Sorry. I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to say equals sum of, and I'm going to go over to Durant Theater and say Durant Theater B5, holding my Shift key down, I'm going to go to Stage Xanadu. And notice that it gives me, it's hard to see, so I'm going to point it out, sum of Durant Theater colon Stage Xanadu. So it's saying everything in between all these sheets in the B5 cell.
Could you do a plus or not?
You could, but then you have to go to each one of them.
Oh,
That's why you wouldn't use sum then. You'd say equals Stage Xandu B5 plus Truman House plus Durant Theater. So this is a lot faster. So I'm going to close that up, and notice that it just brought all of my it added all 3 of those worksheets up into this one from that same cell. I'm sorry, what?
What was the 3 of them?
The 3 of them. So you're just going to hit equals sum, parentheses, you're going to click on Durant Theater, B5, and then hold the shift key down and just click on Stage Xandu, and it will grab all 3 of them. So the shift key is grabbing everything in between. Did that answer your question? Okay. And put a parentheses at the end of it. If you don't, it should add it, but yeah. Now I'm going to take a stab in the dark, and I'm going to say, now that we've done that, is this a relative or an absolute formula? Relative formula. Meaning, if I drag it down, I don't know, I'm not looking at the book. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, it worked. The only problem is, well, it's not even a problem. I mean, it's all dollars. We probably want to get rid of the dollars. But it pulled everything down. So I can just grab it and highlight it and say, you know what? I don't want that to be dollars all the way down. I want it to be comma style. But it just did all of those same calculations all the way across. That's all right. That's all right. Okay. Durant Theater Stage. Okay. Just hit escape. So let's hit equals sum parentheses. And now you're going to click on Durant Theater. Click on the B5. Now hold your shift key down and click on Xandu, Stage Xandu, and then hit enter. Ta-da. Now drag that down. Now do we see what we just did? We have 3 individual theaters. We have their individual receipts, their expenses, and all that kind of stuff, and we've now consolidated it. So this shows us as a company, this is what it looks like. It's pretty awesome, actually. And we can go into each one of those now. We can change numbers, and they will all come back into this consolidated worksheet and give us a consolidated total. So we call this a 3D reference. Okay? So we can think of this as going, Excel has been very two-dimensional, up and down. Now we're going through sheets that are stacked behind each other. The 3rd wall. We're going to the 4th wall next. That's time. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So we did that. I'm going to go ahead and save that because that was so mind-blowing. Don't want to lose it. This is going to be a popular YouTube video for everybody in this class. I can tell by the glazed over looks. Everybody's going to be like, how did he do that? It's a good thing I'm articulating everything I'm doing. All right. So now we can use the paste gallery. We're almost done here. Well, we've got about 50 pages left. And I want you to be able to do your homework. So the first thing that we're going to do is we've done pasting before, okay? But now we want to figure out the power of what is in pasting. So I just did this, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done it. But we can actually go up with cell B5 active, click the copy button. So I can say copy. And then instead of just dragging it down, then I can select the range B6. So I've gone down, hold the shift key down and grab all of those. And then I can come up to this paste button and I can click down. And they give me all these different options for pasting. So I can paste values, which doesn't have any of the actual formulas in it, just the values. I can link a picture or put a picture in here or paste a link, or I can do formatting, or I can come up here and say, okay, what do I want? Keep source formatting. The one that the book wants us to use is put the formula in. And this is just the same as dragging the formula down. I'm just showing you that the feature exists, that we can go up and just say, I don't want you to, I should have done this in the first place because it took my formatting. And instead of doing the formatting, if I just do formulas, it won't change all those dollar signs that I had to do. So it won't bring everything down. It'll just put that one thing in. So there are a lot of paste options up here. And that's good to know. Yes, Amy. So do you have copy highlighted? Or are you copied? Is it glowing with that magic lasso around it? Okay, so you're going to just go to this first one here, hit copy, and then we're going to highlight this, and then you're going to hit paste and just formulas, and then you followed me like a good person, so you messed this up. Let's go ahead and just do comma stop. There you go. So you got the same thing now. Perfect. How's it going back here? Good, good. We're going to do a 3D pie chart. Booyah! I feel like pumpkin today. You guys are so lucky you don't have APP104 with me later. We're doing advanced PowerPoint.
We don't have to take that class, right?
You have to take advanced PowerPoint. Okay, let's format a pie chart. Let's insert a 3D pie chart onto a worksheet just because it says 3D and we think it's cool. So let's select the range A5 through B12
For the consolidated, right?
from the consolidated worksheet. Good question. We are going to, let's see here, insert tab. We're going to go ahead and put a pie chart in, not a dough chart. And not a donut. We want to do a 3D pie. As Adam Sandler would say, have a piece of pie. Great, so I did that. Now, we can quickly change the way this looks. We want to select this style 3. Style 3 will let us just change it automatically to make it look a little differently. We've got some issues with this chart so far. I'm going to go ahead and click on the chart title. And I'm going to type in there 2017 consolidated. I don't want to have a misspelling here. Consolidated expenses. And for those of us who have been in accounting, an expense is always a debit. Thank you. Oh, wow, she nailed it. That was awesome. You all failed. Deborah, you passed. Good job. All right. Okay. So we want to keep it on this same worksheet. We don't need to move this to its own worksheet. We're going to just drag it down here. I'm going to put it down here in the bottom. Looks nice and pretty. I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to pull it out to G so it kind of fills the whole screen with it. Gives me a little space in here. I could make it taller, but I'm not going to go crazy on it. You know what? I want to show you. If you drag, notice that right now I can make this any size I want. If I hold the Shift key down, it will keep the actual dimensions. We call that non-destructive. So it will keep all the dimensions and the aspect ratio. Does everybody know what a 1080p TV is? Like widescreen TV? What's the aspect ratio of that? 16:9. What's the aspect ratio of a normal TV, like an old TV? It's 4:3. For every 4 inches over, it's 3 inches down. Okay, so 16 over, 9 down. That's what a widescreen is. So this, if we hold the Shift key down, whatever that chart showed up as, we can't change the aspect ratio. We just keep it solid. We can make it bigger. Now we want to do something pretty crazy. I told you that we could spend an entire month on charts. We're going to spend a little bit of that. Security here. I'm going to select one slice. And you notice I clicked on it, then I clicked on it again. And I can see that these 3 dots mean I have picked this security slice right here. And that's the only piece of this pie that I have. Now I can explode it by just clicking on it and dragging it out. And notice that now this part kind of separates itself. We can kind of make a point. Security is taking 19% of our expenses. We can change that paste explosion over here. So we can actually make this 20% if we just want to increase it.
How do you bring the side panel
if you just click on it, the side panel should show up automatically, or you can right mouse click and say format.
Format data point.
Format, yeah, any of it, and yeah, it should come up on the right.
Okay.
All right, so we've moved that out, and you know what though? The problem is I don't think it looks good over there on the left. I'd like to make it come home a little bit better, so I can go into this section right here, and I'm sorry, I want to actually be, I don't want to be selected on that one anymore, so I'm just going to click into the whole thing. I deselected it. I am going to click on the pentagon in the format chart area, and I'm going to do 3D rotation. So in this rotation section, I can actually move it around. And what I want to do is I want to rotate the X rotation, and we want to go to 220%, or 220 degrees, I'm sorry. And notice that I've now rotated that around, so security is now on the other side. One of the things that I don't like about this so far is that I need to format these data labels. They don't look great because they're all kind of together. So I want to get them out so I can read what the percentages are. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this section right up here where it says chart elements. I have data labels. That's great. If I go down to the data labels, I get this section that pops out here. And I can say that instead of having them where they are, I want to go to more options. So in the more options, under label options, we want to go to I want to show a leader line. Sorry. Label options right here. On the right, I want to drop this thing down. Label options, label contains. I want to have the category name. So now it tells me what it is. I can see that a lot easier. I want the percentage, and I want to show a leader line. And we'll see what that leader line is here in a second. And we want to make it outside end. Okay, so outside in, it popped them out. I want to create it so that the number display settings, go down here. I want to change this format to a percentage. And notice that it's got 2 decimal places now. So that's nice. And I want to change the decimal places to 1. And we can see all of our labels just formatted. And then I'm going to click OK or just close here. Now what I need to do is these are still kind of tight, so I'm going to click and drag each one of them out, and notice that line stays with it. But now I've kind of got some space, so I can move rent over here, and I can move facilities down here, and I can take administration and move it up here, advertising, and miscellaneous or maintenance. So now they're still there, but I can see what they are, and they kind of hit back in. And we want to change our margins before we print. Now, if I ask you to print, which it's been asking you to, you should just go to Control P, send it to a PDF, and just label it Step 1. Like apply-step 1, apply-step 2. That way it's nice and easy. I can see that you did it. Make sure your name's on there again. But on here, I want to go to Page Layout, Margins, and I'm actually going to say Custom Margins. And I'm going to set this, it wants it 0.5. So I'm going to just say 0.5, 0.5, and then I'm going to horizontally center it on the page, which is my favorite. Click OK. And then if I zoom out, like if I hit Control P, I can see that here it is. It looks all nice. Doesn't look like, is that not fitting on there?
You said hit center on page horizontally.
Yes.
It won't allow me to click it.
I'm actually going to go ahead and say scale, and I'm going to say fit all columns onto one page, and it should, yeah, now everything fits on there.
Page layout, margins.
Go down to custom, and then,
I already got these set up, and then.
oh, you're highlighted on this. You have to be off of that. You can't have your chart selected when you go do those margins. And who knows what a header is? You hit the football? No. It's something that stays on every page. So we just need to do this before we leave today. We need to go into, in the same area page, I'm sorry, is it under view? Where's my headers? Insert, thank you. Insert header and footer. So when we do this, this will print out on every page that comes from it. So we can put up at the top left, Shelly Cashman. I hit tab, it takes me to the middle, and I can put in here 12 tone venues. And over on the right, I could say, hey, I just want the date. And so I can actually add in the current date. It will automatically put that in there. Yes. Hold on, I'll help you with that because we're almost out of time. And then if I want to go to the footer, I'm going to go to the footer. And then down on the bottom right, I'm going to actually change this so it says tab and page. So I'm going to say this is the page, header and footer design. Right click any sheet, select all sheets. Okay. Oh, and so we can just put page number, space of this number of pages, and we can see that. So every time we go out of this now, if I close this, when I go into home, whoop, page break preview. I'm way over. There it is. So I'm back and I've got this. And so when I hit print, we can see that I've got my header and my footer down here. And we can go ahead and print each one of those out. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Create a separate file from the worksheet. We're good there. So go ahead and hit save. There's some searching. We can hit open. We're going to have to cover the rest of that tomorrow because we're going to do some data linking. But this will be good for today. If you can get in and do your homework,